Today's scripture text comes from Luke chapter 13, verses 10 to 17. Hear the words this morning. Now Jesus was teaching in one of the synagogues on the Sabbath. And just then there appeared a woman with a spirit that had crippled her for 18 years. She was bent over and was quite unable to stand up. When Jesus saw her, he called her over and said, "Woman, you are set free from your ailment." When he laid his hands on her, immediately she stood up and began praising God. But the leader of the synagogue became indignant because Jesus had cured on the Sabbath and kept saying to the crowd, "There are 6 days on which work ought to be done. Come on those days and be cured, and not on the Sabbath day." But the Lord answered him and said, "You hypocrites! Does not each one of you on the Sabbath untie your ox and your donkey from the manger and lead it away to give it water? And ought not this woman, a daughter of Abraham, whom Satan bound for 18 long years, be set free from the bondage on the Sabbath day?" When he said this, all the opponents were put to shame, and the entire crowd was rejoicing at all the wonderful things that he was doing. May God add a blessing to this reading. You may be seated. This morning I'm going to start with a prop. So bear with me for a second. I might look funny. Right? Did you like that?
Yes.
White and bow. Fashion statement.
You look different.
This is adapted from a poem I read by storyteller. And this is the perspective from one of the leaders in the synagogue. That would be me. Holy day, holy place, holy teacher, wholeness available. Eyes on the bent over woman. The bent over woman was busy each day of the week. The bent over woman going to the market. The bent over woman going to the well or to the bank. The bent over woman going to the mall.
Yes.
Jesus sees her. Jesus calls her. Bent over woman. The word to the bent over woman. Freedom. Wholeness. Touching the bent over woman, Jesus healed her. Holy situation. Holy day. Holy place. Holy teacher in this space. I think we can stand seeing bent over people every day of the week. We're busy enough not to think about it. After all, every day of the week, we too are bent over making bricks for Pharaoh. Holy day, holy place, holy teacher in this place.
eyes on the leader of the synagogue, weighed down by the Sabbath laws. They cannot stand up straight. But come Sabbath, we're reminded of who we are.
Yes.
Created in God's image. No room for bent over in the synagogue. Unless, of course, you do work in the synagogue. And Sabbath is another day for being burdened, teaching and preaching and liturgy and keeping order. No wonder leaders of the synagogue, like me, get irritated when people get their days mixed up and begin to think that they can be healed on the Sabbath.
Yes, Lord.
Read the hours on the door, people. The clinic is only open during the week.
All right.
Wholeness. Wholeness or healing is available. We just don't need to be bent out of shape about it. There are many aspects to this scripture. The woman was bent over for years. Can you imagine being bent over, then when you stand up, just kind of do this and look at the ground for 18 years.
All right.
And the leaders of the synagogue and the entire crowd, maybe. As I was looking back on the text that I read in one of my Bibles that I wrote, I made a note in the margin. And I noted, this woman did not ask to be healed.
All right.
She didn't ask to be healed. Maybe she was so tired of looking at the ground that she could not imagine wholeness. The fact that the woman was even in the synagogue area was a miracle. And the fact that Jesus called her over was another miracle. And the fact that she came was really something. Now, see, I always thought that Jesus meets us where we're at. But this put a new spin on it for me. Because Jesus didn't go to her. Jesus called her over to him. And requires an act on her part to do something. I wonder if she thought that day that maybe today is the day that I will be made whole. Or was she totally focused on the ground before her? Now we don't know, but we do know that she followed the instructions that Jesus gave. And she came to him. And the realization that after 18 years, it is possible that she and everyone around her had gotten used to seeing her in a bent-over situation.